All right, today we're going to talk about something that's, the very engine of scientific progress, academic publishing. But here's the thing, that engine is seriously sputtering right now. So we're going to peel back the layers on why this absolutely crucial system is struggling and look at a pretty cool new approach that's trying to rebuild it from the ground up.
And listen, that is not an exaggeration. This quote doesn't pull any punches. The very system that's supposed to check our facts and share new knowledge is buckling, and it's creating a massive bottleneck for progress.
So what does that collapse actually look like? Well, it looks like this: 6 to 9 months. That's the average time it takes for one research paper to get through peer review. Just imagine you've made a breakthrough, something that could actually change things, and you have to sit on it for the better part of a year, just waiting for someone to get back to you. It's crazy. And a huge reason for those delays? It comes down to this number: 40%. 40% of the time when a journal asks an expert to review a paper, they just say no. Think about it. These are volunteers who are overworked, they're not really getting anything for it, and frankly, they're just burned out. The well is running dry.
This isn't just about being frustrated. It's also incredibly expensive. For a PhD student whose graduation is stuck in this broken process, it can cost them over $50,000 in opportunity cost. We're talking lost salary, a career on hold, and innovation just stalled. That's a huge price for our next generation of scientists to pay.
So all these numbers, the long waits, the rejections, the financial hit, they paint a pretty grim picture. But they're really just symptoms of a much deeper problem. We're looking at a system in full-blown crisis.
When you really boil it down, you've got 4 huge problems. There are the massive delays we talked about, which are fueled by that intense reviewer fatigue. Then there's a serious lack of mentorship. So young researchers are kind of left to figure out this super complicated system all by themselves. And finally, all this chaos creates openings for fraud, which leads to over 10,000 papers being pulled back every single year. And again, this isn't just about some abstract process or numbers on a page. There is a very real, very human cost to all this inefficiency and waiting around. The ripple effect is just massive. PhD students get hit with career-altering delays, universities suffer because guess what? Their funding and their rankings are tied to how much their people publish, and even the journals themselves are in trouble, because when you can't find good reviewers, the quality of the science you publish starts to drop. It's a system where basically nobody wins.
And this right here, this slide shows a really fundamental disconnect that's at the heart of the whole problem. The ones paying for all the tools and platforms are the institutions, the universities. But the people actually using the system every day, that's the students, the mentors, and the reviewers. So the buyer isn't the user, and that just slows down any real innovation.
Okay, so with a problem this big and this complicated, you can't just slap a bandage on it. You need a whole new foundation. And that's where a digital solution could really come into play.
Which, of course, leads us to the big question. If the old way is falling apart, then what does a better, faster, and more supportive system actually look like?
Well, one answer being proposed is a platform called PaperPublishIQ. The whole idea is that it's built from the ground up to tackle these exact problems, creating one clean, streamlined path to guide a paper from its very first messy draft all the way to being publication ready. So how does it actually work? Well, it all starts with some really smart AI screening. First up, plagiarism detection. Before a person even lays eyes on the paper, an AI engine scans it against millions of other sources to make sure the work is original right from the get-go.
Next up, it tackles a very 21st century problem: AI-generated text. A different AI model scans the paper to see if big chunks of it were written by another AI, flagging it to make sure the work is authentic and maintains academic integrity.
And finally, there's the structure validator. And honestly, this is a huge time saver. It automatically checks if the paper's formatting, the references, the sections, the layout, matches the super specific, often really nitpicky rules of whatever journal they're sending it to. This alone prevents so many papers from getting rejected right away for simple mistake. So once you have these powerful AI tools acting as the first line of defense, the entire workflow can be completely reimagined. You can move from total chaos to actual clarity. So instead of that long, confusing back and forth, you get a clear 6-step journey. You submit your draft, and it passes the AI screening. Then you're connected with an expert mentor for guidance. Only then does it go to blind peer review. After that, there's a structured revision cycle, a clear yes or no decision, and finally, a one-click export perfectly formatted for the journal. It's clean, it's fast, and it's transparent. But here's the thing. A solution that really works can't just be about making life easier for the author. It has to fix the problems for everyone involved in the process. It's got to be an ecosystem approach.
And this table just lays it out so perfectly. For every single person involved, a specific problem gets solved. Authors get the guidance they need. Mentors get recognized and paid for their work. Reviewers get rewarded for high-quality feedback. And the universities get the data and quality control they've been missing.
And that brings us to maybe the most crucial part of this whole thing, the ethical incentive model. This is how you solve that reviewer fatigue problem. Mentors and reviewers are actually paid for their time and for the quality of their feedback. But, and this is so important, their reward is never tied to whether the paper gets approved or rejected. This pushes them to give honest, tough, high-quality critiques, not just rubber-stamp things.
So when you start putting all these different pieces together, you've got the AI tech, the simple workflow, and this balanced ecosystem, you start to see a really clear path forward, a new future for how we do research.
And, the timing for a change like this couldn't be better. We're kind of in a perfect storm of three big trends all hitting at once. First, the tech. AI is finally mature enough to handle this kind of complex work. Second, the urgency. The reviewer crisis is at a breaking point. And third, the pressure. Universities are so desperate to publish that they actually have budgets for tools like this now.
Which leaves us with one last, really exciting thought. For way too long, the process of sharing science has actually been a barrier to science itself. So if we can fix that process, if we can make it faster and smarter and fairer, what new discoveries, what new cures, what amazing breakthroughs are we going to unlock for everyone? It's a pretty powerful question.